It's Bullseye. I'm Jesse Thorn. My first guest this week, Judy Greer. She and I talked in 2014. When she first got out of school, Judy was auditioning for lead parts and not getting them. So she shifted gears. She became a co-star. Turned out she became one of the most successful co-stars in Hollywood. And it makes sense. I mean, she is a gifted actress. She's funny. She's beautiful. But she also still kind of has that quality of looking like a real human being you might know in real life. She's been a best friend in a million romantic comedies, 27 Dresses, 13 Going on 30. She's been in dramatic movies like The Descendants and Jurassic World. She's been on every kind of TV show, from 2.5 Men to ER to Arrested Development. On Arrested, she played the very memorable role of Kitty Sanchez, an insane administrative assistant bent on driving home any point she makes by showing her boobs. When Judy and I talked, it was right after the release of her memoir, I Don't Know What You Know Me From, Confessions of a Co-Star. Recently, she's appeared in the new Planet of the Apes movie, in the Hulu series Casual. Later this month, she'll star alongside Robert Redford and Jane Fonda in Our Souls at Night on Netflix. Here she is in one of her classic supporting roles, one of her first as well, in The Wedding Planner. She plays the best friend to Jennifer Lopez's character, who's professionally successful and, here's a curveball, unlucky in love.
Let me see. What font would I use? You're gonna be a partner! I gotta get the account first. Oh, please, Mary. You're totally gonna get the account.
The Greenberg marriage lasted 1 year, 2 months. You win the pot again.
Thank you. How do you do it? I was more than 4 years off. I Honestly Love You by Olivia Newton-John was their wedding song. Puts them in the 14-month divorce range. Speaking of honest love, Jed was asking about you again. I don't trust a man who gets regular pedicures. Mary, you haven't been on a date in 2 years. Your point? My point is, if you're not interested in Jed, there is a handsome Italian man waiting to marry you in the lobby. Did you talk to him? Just for a few minutes. He is so adorable. He's not adorable. How can you say that? When we were kids, he followed me around for an entire summer asking me if I had a vagina. I think that's adorable.
There was a comment. You did a Reddit Ask Me Anything the other day, and there was a comment that I found very charming, which was from just some dude, and it was in a thread about a bunch of romantic comedies that you had been in, and he just wrote, "Yeah, I saw all of these movies. My wife made me. Thank you for making them tolerable."
That's awesome.
There is a very specific kind of thing that you have to do when you are acting in one of these movies and you are not the lead, because the best friend is the person that has to set up everything that happens in the entire movie. So you have to both be believable and essentially narrate the film through exposition.
It's so true. And that was a great clip because I was listening to the info. I knew what you were doing. And I was like, what am I getting out? That she wants to be a partner, that she's close, that she has to nail this wedding so she can be a partner, that she always wins the pool and how long the weddings last, that she doesn't have a boyfriend, that one guy likes. Like, it was amazing. I was like, wow, one scene I really like.
When you started auditioning in LA after acting school, what was it like when you started walking into auditions and you weren't auditioning for a play against theater school people?
Right.
You were auditioning for, the lead role in a WB series, and you were there in one of these weird rooms full of spectacularly beautiful television people.
So beautiful. It was weird because they all looked so pretty and they were so skinny and they all seemed really happy and well-adjusted, and they never dropped anything, and their fly was never open, and they never thought, I always run into an audition waiting room like I'm going to pee my pants because you're stuck in traffic for so long to get there. They never did that. Maybe they didn't go to the bathroom, those girls. I don't know. But it was different in theater school. You're taught to be anything, that actors can be anything, that you can, I played an 8-year-old boy with AIDS. I played a eunuch. I played you're just told that you're an old person, you're a young person, you're a cow, whatever. And so going into these auditions now for the first time, and I'm like, I don't look like these girls, and we're auditioning for the same roles, and I don't really understand where I fit into this.
When did you make that pivot that you describe in the book between trying to be and not being especially successful at being the superstar lead role, and all of a sudden working pretty much right away being the co-star.
Yeah, I didn't really make that decision on my own. It kind of gets made for you. You start, when I came here, I just I auditioned for everything. I went in for everything that they sent me on. I would audition 5 times a day. I just kept auditioning, and then it's kind of like natural selection. I started getting these certain roles as like the sister, the sidekick, the best friend, the assistant, and then those are the roles that you start getting called in for. And so it kind of just happened to me, and I didn't make a decision to like stop trying to be the lead, but I love working and I love the roles that I get, and they're crowd pleaser roles. People like them and respond to them, and it's fun to make people laugh, and didn't really bother me that much. But yeah, it just kind of was like a natural. It was very organic.
Did it give you a sense of what you were good at? Because one of the things that's special about the best friend role in a romantic comedy specifically is that it's one of the only roles historically in Hollywood movies where a woman gets to be funny.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully it's changing, with like great women comedians right now, like starring in movies and making television shows. But yeah, it was kind of true. The lead girl in the movie is never really that funny. I mean, she doesn't get all the funny jokes, and she doesn't get to be weird and wacky because she has to be pretty. And when you're the best friend, you can, if I gain 10 pounds, like whatever, man, like no one tells me, you look fat, you need to lose weight. I can do whatever I want with my hair. I can do whatever I want with my makeup. Usually my wardrobe is a little more interesting. It's not as important.
You've worked really consistently through your career, which is a pretty remarkable achievement. I mean, we're looking at 15 years and something coming up on 100 movies and television programs and other acting roles.
Yeah.
And I wonder if when you were relatively early in your career, even though you were working consistently, there was a part of you that didn't want to turn things down.
Yeah, 100%, and that's definitely still the case. I'm always convinced that every job I get will be my last, and I didn't really turn anything down, and I don't actually turn a lot down. I mean, I like working. I love being on set. I love meeting new people, and I kind of think of it as like stopping the momentum. An object in motion stays in motion, and I always sort of think that with my work.
You write a lot about, in the book, your growing up in the suburbs of Detroit.
Yeah.
And you seem very Midwestern in that you are very hesitant to give yourself credit for anything.
I know I am.
Are you in your, is that a public-facing issue, or is that also living inside of you?
I think it's living inside of me. I was always, I was taught not to brag, not to boast, that at any given minute it could all be taken away from me. My mom, who is awesome, she's weird sometimes, the things that she says. I remember she was at my house. This was a few years ago, and I have a cute little house, and I like it, and it's nice. And she was like, "Your house is so cute." And I was like, "Thanks, Mom." And she goes, "I hope you get to keep it." And I was like, "Mom, I'm doing okay. Like, I didn't get a big mansion. It's small. It's 1,300 square feet. Like, I'm careful about, my mortgage payment is reasonable. Like, I'm okay. It's okay." It's funny. And then I was like, "Oh, that's where I get it from. Like, that at any given minute it could all be taken away from me."
It's Bullseye. I'm Jesse Thorn. I'm talking to the actor Judy Greer. Her book of essays is called I Don't Know What You Know Me From, Confessions of a Co-Star. Can you give me some idea of what it is like for you when someone comes up to you in the real world and knows you but doesn't know why?
Well, it's not super terrible, but it is definitely time consuming. And that's my only real irritation, comes from the time consuming aspect of it, at least lately, because people won't let you go. They really won't. They won't let you off the hook.
They need to scratch the itch
They
of
do.
who is this person that I recognize.
So badly. Like, it's pretty intense sometimes. I was just in Toronto and New York doing stuff for my book, and I was like going through customs. My flight got in from Toronto into Newark at like 9 or 10 p.m. and I'm so tired, and I've been doing press all day and was wearing very uncomfortable shoes. And the customs agent held on to he was super sweet. His name was Bill. He hung on to my passport and my ticket, my little like customs thing, until I told him stuff that I was in. And I don't really think he wasn't like holding it hostage. He just happened to have it in his hands when he was like, well, what are you in? Why do I know you? Why do I know you? What are you in? And I just wanted to be like, oh, please, Bill, please, can I please just, and he asked for my autograph at the end of it all.
Yeah, so you've done such a variety of projects. I mean, the people who watch 2.5 Men are, I'm sure, very different from the people who watch The Descendants or It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or whatever, and so, or Marmaduke. But I wonder if you could just, as an example, if you could give me, like, if I came up to you, which I might, I would have a hard time not doing it because I'm a fan of yours.
Thank you.
But if I couldn't place exactly why I was a fan of yours, if you might try fan profiling me.
I mean, I would go Arrested Development, because I just feel like you're like very hip and cool looking, and that would be, I would say you were an original Arrested Development fan.
Well, I stole the pilot screener from the commercial radio station I was interning for.
Yes.
So I was so excited that there was a new show with David Cross and Jeffrey Tambor. Let's take a listen to a clip from Arrested Development. So your character, you had a recurring character, a frequently recurring character on Arrested Development named Kitty Sanchez. Mm-hmm. And she was the assistant and sometime love interest
of all of them.
Yes. Especially of George Sr., who owned the company that was the sort of central MacGuffin in the program. And his son, Michael, had a lot of trouble with Kitty because once Michael, became head of the company, he discovered that Kitty had a lot of valuable and dangerous information. So she has to be, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And so he fired her when she went on spring break to a place called Senor Tadpole's.
Sure.
And now in this scene, he is trying to unfire her because he's realized that he's made a terrible mistake.
Can we just make believe that none of this ever happened and just start fresh?
Michael, of course I'll come back. Because I never really left, because we both know that you can't fire people.
No, I did fire you, and now I'm hiring you back.
You don't have authority over me. They don't have nachos here.
You know what, Kitty? Why don't we forget it? Because I've been trying to be very, very generous to you, and you don't respect me. So I'm firing you, okay? You are fired.
All right, Michael. But I know where things are, and you don't, and you are asking for a whole world of trouble.
If you're threatening me, you're going to be very sorry.
Are you threatening me?
Yeah, that's a threat. I'm threatening you.
Did you hear that, everyone? Michael Bluth is threatening me!
I gotta get out of here.
You're part of the story. Can't be a part of the story. Can't be a part of the story.
Say goodbye to your company, Michael. And say goodbye to these. Because it's the last time.
That's it.
Oh my God, she's such a freak. I love it.
At the end, she lifts her shirt. Which Michael's not, he's trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
I actually have some bad news for you.
Oh.
Which is this. You very nearly got it right when you fan profiled me. However,
do you go Archer?
I'm an Archer man.
All right.
Archer is what I recognize you from, despite the fact that your face does not appear on screen because it's an animated show. Archer's my favorite show on television, and you play this character named Cheryl Tunt.
Yes.
Now known by another name, Shirlene.
Shirlene.
And she is a billionaire secretary, now country superstar, but who is really into rough sex.
Yeah.
She's a real situation.
She's a hot mess, that one.
She is.
I believe that my role was not supposed to be on the show. I think it was supposed to be sort of like a one-time thing. And Adam Reed, who is a genius and writes everything and does everything, he said that once we cast you, we wanted to make it more beef up the role a little bit more, which is hugely flattering coming from him. And another thing that was different about the pilot is I was always meant to be this like weepy secretary who was always pining for Archer. And so it was really cool to see the shift in my character when they kind of decided to like use me for my strengths, which
Wait, how would you would you say that your strengths as an actress involve?
I think that they were also fans of Arrested Development, and I think that they wanted to use those strengths of mine, my penchant for being like a crazy girl.
Let's take a listen to a scene from Archer. So Cheryl, as we mentioned, is a secretary and she is the secretary for Mallory Archer, who is the boss of ISIS, which is the spy agency that is at the heart of Archer. And in this scene, she just suggested a code name for a new operation. The code name she suggested is Dick Sledge. And needless to say, her coworkers then ask her why in the name of all things holy she would suggest that name as the code name for a spy operation.
So then it's settled. We're a go on Operation... Ooh, what should we call it?
Dick Sledge.
You wanna...
No, but it's like sour milk. You just gotta take a whiff. What's the story, neckbones?
Sophomore year at my stupid college, I had a huge crush on the quarterback, this super hot guy named Dick Sledge.
Sploosh.
Jinx.
It was like I was invisible. He wouldn't even sign my cast when I broke my own arm. But I thought if I knew what he liked, then I'd have an in. So one Saturday when he had a game, I broke into his dorm room to see what kind of music he was into, or turtles, or roll around in his clothes, or whatever. But
you were so busy sniffing his jock, you didn't hear him come in?
Because he totally snuck up on me. Then I guess I blacked out because I don't remember stabbing him at all.
Why'd you have a knife?
I didn't. It was a stupid pair of scissors. And it was his fault for grabbing me with his throwing hand. That's how his tendon got severed. They said he could have gone pro.
So, glossing over why you broke your own arm...
So he'd signed my cast.
That's amazing. I forgot about that.
I had to, and it's great. Do you ever get a script for this television program and think that may be too much?
No, I don't.
You have a best friend who eats cocaine, by the way, on the show.
Yeah, in all forms. My favorite is yogurt. I love that they make cocaine yogurt. I love my relationship with Pam because we're a wreck together. Like we clearly are best friends, but like we can't stand each other also. I don't know. I don't think we could function without each other. But I never think it's too much.
Oh man. I could do an hour just about her new role as a country music superstar.
I know. It's great. She's amazing. And that's like this weird, she now has this like weird trait, this quality that no one knew about her, and that's how they're going to make money. And it's so funny. All of them living in her mansion. So good. Where does he think of these things?
Can we say her new catchphrase together?
Yeah. Should I scream it?
Yeah, we should scream it. We'll scream it.
I'm not moving my microphone because I'll never get it back. Ready?
Outlaw country! Woo!
Judy, it has been such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining me on Bullseye.
So fun. Say goodbye to these.
Judy Greer's new book is called I Don't Know What You Know Me From, Confessions of a Co-Star.